You ever walk into a room and feel the air freeze, like time holds its breath for a second? That's what it felt like when I opened the door to that downtown law office. Marble floors, leather chairs, everything reeked of money and betrayal. I still had the voicemail fresh in my ears. Ethan, I've decided I want a divorce. You can talk to my lawyer. That's the only way we'll be communicating from now on. That was it. No explanation. No chance to talk. Just cold words from the woman I gave 12 years of my life to. So I went. The receptionist looked up, blonde, fake smile, clicking nails. Do you have an appointment? I'm here to see Mr. Lanson. My wife, Natalie, told me to come. When the man came out, I recognized him. Suited up like a Wall Street shark, maybe early 40s, but the bags under his eyes told a different story. I stood, extended my hand. Yes, I'm the husband. And that's when his hands started shaking. Not a nervous tremble. I mean, full-on shaking like he'd just seen a ghost. His face drained white. He glanced over his shoulder like someone might be watching. That's when I knew. This wasn't just business. What's wrong? I asked. He fumbled with his briefcase, wouldn't meet my eyes. Let's talk in my office. I followed him in, but my gut was already doing somersaults. Something about this felt off. He closed the door behind us, didn't sit. Instead, he paced. I didn't know she'd send you here, he muttered. What's that supposed to mean? She said you were out of town. My pulse kicked. I didn't say a word. Just let the silence wrap around him like a noose. The guy cracked in less than a minute. Look, I didn't mean for this to happen. Boom. That line. That damn line you only hear in movies or cheap dramas. I narrowed my eyes. What exactly happened, Lanson? He looked like he was going to puke. It was one night. Okay, a few nights. She said she was leaving you anyway. I swear I didn't know you two were still. Still what? I snapped. He looked up finally, guilt bleeding from every pore. Still together. And just like that, the truth hit me in the chest like a cinder block. My wife's lawyer, the one she sent me to, was one of her lovers. The rage came slow, like lava crawling through my veins. I wanted to flip his mahogany desk, grab him by his cheap silk tie, and ask him what else he knew. But instead, I breathed. I wanted answers more than revenge. How long? I asked. He sighed. 3 months. She came in for the divorce consultation, and things got personal. Of course they did. Natalie had always been that way. Magnetic. Manipulative. The kind of woman who could make a man feel like a king, until she decided to burn his castle down for fun. I leaned forward. Did you know we had an anniversary trip planned last weekend? Paris. Her idea. He blinked. She said you'd already separated. She was under me in a hotel suite in the 7th arrondissement 3 nights ago. He winced. I'm sorry. I didn't care. This wasn't about him. This was about her. And how deeply this betrayal ran. I stood up, buttoned my coat, and looked him in the eyes one last time. Thanks for your honesty. Now do me a favor and stay the hell out of my marriage. He nodded like a beaten dog. But I wasn't done. Natalie thought she could end 12 years with a voicemail and hide behind legal walls. She forgot who the hell I am. I left the office with one goal: find out everything. Who else? When? Where? Why? And when I got home, I opened her laptop. She hadn't even logged out of her iCloud. Rookie move. The messages hit like bullets, text chains with names I didn't recognize. Some were short. Come over tonight, he's out. Others were long, poetic, romantic even. But one message stood out. It was from someone named Jay. Your husband has no clue, huh? Don't worry. I'll keep you warm again tomorrow night. Attached was a picture. A mirror selfie. Natalie. In my shirt. With a man's arm wrapped around her waist. I didn't even feel my body react. I just stared at the screen. That was my shirt. That was our bedroom. That was her betrayal, captured in pixels. I don't remember how long I stood there. Maybe minutes. Maybe an hour. But one thing was clear. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was a life she built behind my back. And she was still playing the game. But so was I now. And I wasn't playing to lose. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in our bed, my bed, where she probably rolled around with those other guys, staring at the ceiling fan as it sliced through the silence like a slow, mocking blade. Her pillow still smelled like her expensive perfume. That vanilla coconut scent I used to love now made my stomach churn. By morning, I had gone through her entire iCloud. Messages, notes, call logs, photos. She wasn't even trying to hide it. There were at least 3 other names, besides the lawyer, who all had their little slice of Natalie. See, Jay, and Dean. Dean was a name I knew. My so-called friend. I stared at a message she sent him just 2 weeks ago. Ethan's been distant again. I think he knows, but he's too scared to admit it. You've always made me feel alive. He never could. I had spent the past month planning a renewal ceremony. She thought I was distant? No. I was focused on building something stronger. Turns out, she was building an escape route with every man who gave her attention. At 10 a.m., she called. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity got the better of me. I hope you met with the lawyer, she said, her voice smooth like honey over a dagger. It's for the best, Ethan. You don't sound too heartbroken, I said. A pause. Then a scoff. I stopped being heartbroken the third time I begged you to touch me, and you turned away. Typical Natalie. Twist the narrative. Make herself the victim. I planned a trip to Paris for you, I said flatly. I put a down payment on that stupid vineyard you said you dreamed of retiring to. I cooked dinner every Sunday, even when you acted like my presence annoyed you. Ethan, she began. No, let me finish. I held you at night when you cried over your sister's death. I bailed your brother out when he got arrested. I lied to my own parents for you. And you repay me with this. You don't get it, she snapped. You never got me. The venom in her voice didn't even surprise me anymore. You're not even angry, I found out, I said. You're angry that now I get to decide how this ends. She hung up. That was when I realized Natalie wasn't broken over the marriage ending. She was broken over losing control. Later that afternoon, I texted Dean. Just one sentence. We need to talk. You have 30 minutes to get to the bar on 5th, or I come to your office. He showed up in 20. He walked in wearing a polo shirt like this was just another casual drink between old friends. I waited until he sat down, then slid my phone across the table. The message thread between him and Natalie was open. He read a few lines, then froze. I can explain, he muttered. I laughed. Actually laughed. No, you can't. But go ahead, give it a shot. Say the line, it just happened. He looked me in the eye, shame crawling all over his face. She told me you guys were already separated. She said it was just a formality. Stop. I stood up. He flinched, expecting a punch. But I didn't give him that satisfaction. You were in my house, Dean. You looked me in the eye every time you slept with her. Don't ever text me again. Don't call. And if I see you near my house, I swear I'll forget how much prison scares me. He looked like he wanted to beg. I didn't care. I walked out. When I got home, her car wasn't in the driveway. I had the locks changed anyway. I sat on the couch with a bottle of bourbon and stared at the silence around me. This house used to be loud. Laughs, arguments, music. Now it echoed with betrayal. Later that night, I got an email. From Natalie. No greeting. No apology. Just, I'll send someone to pick up my things. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened her email app again. I wasn't even looking for more evidence. I just wanted to understand why. And that's when I found it. A draft email. Never sent. To whom it may concern, I am writing to formally transfer Ethan Carter's shares of Horizon Design Limited, as discussed. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was trying to take the company I built with my bare hands. Everything was falling into place now. The sudden interest in our finances. The fake smiles when I talked about expanding. The nights she stayed late at the office. This wasn't just betrayal. It was warfare. And she thought she'd already won. But the game had just begun. The next morning, I visited my attorney. Not the kind you find on a billboard or some coupon mailer. I called up Rick Donovan. Old school, sharp, cold-blooded. The kind of man who doesn't flinch when things get dirty. He handled my corporate litigation once, and I knew he had the stomach for what was coming. I laid it all out. Messages, emails, the unsent draft, even a screen recording of her iCloud activity. He didn't interrupt, didn't look surprised, just nodded and took notes. When I finished, he leaned back in his leather chair and said, "She's sloppy. That's good. Means she's cocky. But she's dangerous too, Ethan. If she's messing with business assets, we need to hit first. She's trying to gut me from the inside out," I said. "I want her to know that I know everything. I want her to feel it." Rick smiled, the kind of smile wolves give before they bite. "Then let's start with freezing the company's shares. I'll file the injunction today. And you're going to do something even more important." "What?" "You're going to pretend you know nothing." I paused. "You want me to act like I'm still playing dumb?" "Exactly. Let her walk into her own trap." I left his office calmer than I'd felt in days. Not because anything had been fixed, but because I finally had control again. and she had no idea it was slipping through her fingers. That night, Natalie came by. Without warning, her heels clicked on the hardwood like she owned the place. She was wearing that stupid leather jacket I bought her in Florence. Lipstick perfect. Attitude even sharper. "I came to get some things," she said flatly. I didn't even flinch. Just nodded and followed her as she walked through the house, opening drawers, checking closets. She moved like a thief, pretending to belong. In the hallway, she stopped at the wedding photo still hanging on the wall. She stared at it for a second. "You used to smile like that," she said, almost wistfully. "So did you," I replied. Her face hardened immediately. "You were cold, Ethan. You pushed me away." "There it is," I muttered. "The script." "What?" "The script. The same excuses you probably fed the others." He was cold. He was distant. He didn't understand me. "You think that justifies sneaking around with 4 different men?" She turned, jaw clenched. "I didn't sneak. I survived." I laughed. Actually laughed. "You survived? In Parisian hotel suites with champagne and bubble baths." "You don't get it," she said, voice rising. "I begged you to see me. You weren't invisible, Natalie. You were bored. And instead of fixing it like a damn adult, you opened your legs to strangers." Her eyes narrowed, voice dropping to a hiss. "Careful, Ethan. You're not exactly innocent either." I stepped closer, calm but cold. "Oh, I'm plenty guilty. Guilty of trusting you. Guilty of building a life around someone who was busy burning it down." She tried to push past me, but I blocked the hallway. "You didn't just cheat on me," I said. "You planned this. You tried to steal from me." Her face twitched, just for a second. That's when I knew she realized I'd found the draft email. "You're bluffing," she said. I said nothing. She walked past me without another word, grabbed her suitcase, and left. As the door slammed shut behind her, I stood there in the silence. Heart pounding, hands steady. That night, I didn't drink. I didn't scroll through messages. I didn't cry. I pulled out a pen and paper and started writing. Everything I remembered, every name, every event, every damn date. Rick had told me, build the timeline, own the story. So I did. 2 days later, I got a knock at the door. Not Natalie. The police. "Mr. Carter?" "Yeah. We have a search warrant for electronic devices. There's been a complaint filed by Mrs. Carter. She claims you hacked her personal accounts and made threats." I nearly laughed in the officer's face. But I didn't. Instead, I handed them my phone, unlocked it, and said, "Everything's right there. You'll find more than she bargained for." One of them looked confused. The other seemed annoyed. "She's playing every angle," I said. "Be sure you check the iCloud account. It's still under our shared plan. Nothing was hacked." She never logged out. They left with my phone, and I realized just how deep she was willing to go. False accusations, legal traps, lies stacked on lies. But now I wasn't reacting anymore. I was hunting. The call came from Rick the next morning. "She filed a restraining order," he said, no hint of surprise in his voice. "Claimed you threatened her life." I didn't even blink. "Figures. She's trying to paint me into a corner." "What now?" "We file a counter motion. You're clean. And I've already sent the court evidence showing joint account access. She never logged out. She's overplaying her hand." "Good," I muttered, "because I'm done playing defense." That evening, I went to see her mother. Yeah, her mother. Sandra. A woman who always looked at me like I was the hired help who somehow got too comfortable. But this time, when she opened the door, she looked unsure. No makeup, robe barely tied, hair in a mess, very un-Sandra. "You shouldn't be here," she said, barely opening the door. "I know, but you need to hear this." She started to close the door, but I put my hand against it. Not forcefully, just firmly. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here because I think your daughter's losing it and dragging people down with her." Her eyes shifted. "Natalie said you were becoming erratic. Obsessive." I chuckled. "Right. I'm the obsessive one. That's why she had affairs with her lawyer, my business partner, and 2 guys she met on Instagram." Sandra froze. She hadn't known. I could see it in her eyes, the moment the curated version of her perfect daughter cracked. "She's trying to take my company, Sandra. She filed false charges. She's lying to the courts. You raised her. Tell me, does this sound like something Natalie's capable of?" Silence. Then Sandra stepped back and let me in. I sat on the edge of their white designer couch while she poured herself wine. Not for politeness. For nerves. "I knew she was unhappy," Sandra said finally. "But this is madness." She told you I was abusive, didn't she? Sandra's silence was answer enough. She's building a narrative, piece by piece. So when it all falls apart, she walks away looking like the victim. She's setting the stage. Sandra sipped her wine. She learned from the best. I glanced up. What do you mean? She watched me do the same thing to her father. Only difference, he never saw it coming. I left her place feeling cold. Not because of the weather, but because I saw the pattern now. Natalie wasn't broken. She was built this way. Calculated. And I had underestimated her from day one. Later that night, I got a message. From a number I didn't recognize. You don't know me, but I was with Natalie a few times. If you're who I think you are, her husband, I think we should talk. Attached was a picture. Natalie, in a red dress I'd never seen, curled up in the lap of a man in a black hoodie. His face partially hidden. Her expression? Smug. Like she owned him. Like she owned the night. I called the number. He picked up. Yeah. This is Ethan. Silence. Then, thought so. What do you want? I'm not trying to get in the middle of your mess. But she told me she was divorced. I didn't find out the truth until last week. She's dangerous, man. She told me her ex, you, was abusive, controlling, emotionally dead. She played me. And when I found out the truth, I cut it off. She didn't take that well. Who are you? My name's Marcus. I bartend at 11 Lounge. We met there. She said she was free at last. I only believed her because she was so damn convincing. What do you want from me? Nothing. Just watch her back. She's unhinged. And if she feels like she's losing control, she lashes out. The line went dead. I sat in the dark, hands clenched, mind racing. She was spiraling. And spiraling people don't fall quietly. The next day, I woke up to my front windshield smashed. A rock still lying on the hood. No note. No witnesses. Coincidence? Not a chance. I checked the security footage from the camera I installed last month, one she didn't know about. And there she was, middle of the night, hair tied back, wearing gloves, throwing the rock, then casually walking away like it was just another Tuesday. No hesitation. No fear. Just cold-blooded destruction. She didn't know I had the footage yet. But soon, she would. Because now I had everything I needed. Evidence. Motive. Timeline. Witnesses. She wanted war. Now she was going to get it. I emailed the footage to Rick at 6 a.m. sharp. No message, just the file. He replied within the hour. This seals it. We press charges for vandalism and use it to undermine her restraining order. We'll also introduce it during the divorce proceedings to establish behavior. Good job, Ethan. You've got her by the throat. I wasn't smiling, though. None of this felt like victory. Just a slow, methodical walk through fire, and I was still blistering from the heat. Later that day, I got a notification. Natalie had posted a picture on Instagram. Her and some random guy on a yacht. Caption. Starting over, finally free. It was so calculated it was laughable. The whole world was supposed to believe I was the toxic one. That she was finally escaping some imagined prison of pain. A few mutual friends liked the post. Some even commented, "Proud of you. You deserve happiness." They didn't know she smashed my car the night before. They didn't know she was sleeping with her lawyer while I was cooking dinner for our anniversary. I started getting texts from old friends, people I hadn't talked to in months. Half of them wanted the gossip. The other half were checking in, pretending they cared, when really, they just wanted the juicy details. But one text stood out. It was from Jared, my college roommate, best man at our wedding. Hey man, saw everything. Just want you to know, I never trusted her. Thought you should know, she made a pass at me once. Back in 19. I didn't want to wreck what you had, so I said nothing. Sorry, I read that message 5 times. She hit on my best friend? Back in 2019, we were trying for a baby. We were looking at nurseries, baby names, and she was trying to jump into Jared's pants. I called him. He picked up instantly. Ethan, I didn't want to tell you then. I figured it was just a drunk moment, and maybe I misunderstood. What did she say? She told me you were boring in bed. Said she missed being with someone who took charge. Then she laughed like it was a joke, but I could tell it wasn't. I exhaled slowly. Thanks for telling me now. I should have done it earlier, I know. I'm sorry. It didn't matter anymore. Nothing could shock me at this point. I was dealing with a professional manipulator. Someone who didn't just betray people. She broke them for sport. That night, I drove past 11 Lounge. Not because I wanted to see Marcus, the bartender who warned me, but because I wanted to see if Natalie was there. If she was out, playing her new role, living her fake freedom. And there she was, sitting in the outdoor section, legs crossed, cocktail in hand, wearing the same dress she wore to my company's Christmas party last year, laughing with a guy in a tight shirt and gold chain. She looked radiant, confident, like the queen of her own little kingdom. I watched from across the street, hidden by shadows. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was Rick again. Court hearing moved to Monday. Be ready. I drove home without saying a word. Didn't stop for food. Didn't even turn on the radio. Because all I could think about was the courtroom. Facing her. Seeing if she could still lie with that same casual smirk when a judge was watching. Monday came fast. I walked into that courtroom wearing my sharpest suit. No lawyer beside her this time. Apparently she ditched Lanson after things got too complicated. She came in alone, wearing all white like some kind of reborn angel. The irony nearly made me laugh out loud. She didn't look at me once, but I looked at her. I studied every twitch, every fake smile she gave to the clerk, every calculated glance around the room. When her name was called and she stepped forward, I swear the air changed. The judge didn't waste time. Rick presented the footage, the emails, the text messages, the timeline, the attempt to transfer my company's shares, the restraining order with no merit. And then he played the video. Natalie, in the middle of the night, smashing my windshield. When it ended, the silence was thick. The judge adjusted her glasses, looked over her file, then finally looked at Natalie. Mrs. Carter, do you have anything to say before I make my ruling? Natalie straightened her back, put on that rehearsed look of victimhood, then opened her mouth to speak. But before she could say a word, the courtroom door opened, and in walked Marcus. He didn't say a word. He just walked up to the clerk, handed her a file, and pointed at me. Subpoenaed witness, he said. Natalie's face turned ghost white, and I leaned back in my chair, finally letting the corner of my mouth curl. Now it was her turn to burn. She didn't speak for the rest of the hearing. When Marcus sat down in the witness stand, the tension in the courtroom wrapped around everyone's throats. Even the judge leaned in slightly, sensing what was coming. Rick rose and approached him. State your full name for the record. Marcus Hale. And how do you know the defendant, Natalie Carter? I met her at 11 Lounge. I bartend there. She came in often, first with friends, then alone. Rick nodded, slow and deliberate. Can you describe your relationship with her? Marcus shifted in his seat. His voice stayed steady. We were involved. She told me she was divorced. Said her husband was toxic, controlling, cold. I believed her. I had no idea she was still married. Did she ever speak about her husband by name? Yes. Ethan. I didn't move. Did she ever express anger toward him? Any threats? Marcus hesitated, then said, she said she wanted to ruin him. Said she was done waiting for karma, and she'd handle it herself. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. The judge held up her hand. Mr. Hale, do you have any evidence of this? Yes. I brought screenshots, messages, voicemails, even a video she sent me once, laughing as she went through his business files. The clerk took the documents, passed them to the judge. Natalie looked frozen, like her body had forgotten how to breathe. Rick took a breath. One last question, Mr. Hale. Why did you come here today? Marcus looked at me, straight in the eyes. Because I found out the truth. And I'm not letting someone use me to destroy a good man's life. That was it. That was the moment I felt the shift. Natalie's empire, built on seduction and lies, started to crack. She didn't argue, didn't cry. She just stood there, silent, as the judge leaned forward and said, Mrs. Carter, based on the evidence presented, your claims are not only unsupported, they appear to be retaliatory. The restraining order is dismissed. Any future false claims may result in criminal charges. Furthermore, your conduct will be taken into account in the divorce proceedings. Bang of the gavel. She turned to leave, but not before glancing at me. Her eyes no longer cold, no longer smug. Just empty. Like the mask had finally slipped off, and she didn't recognize herself underneath. I didn't follow her. Didn't say a word. Outside the courthouse, Marcus walked up to me. Hope that helps. It did. He nodded. If you ever need anything else, I owe you. For showing me who she really was. Then he left. I stood there for a while, in the cold wind of early afternoon, watching cars pass. People walk by like nothing in the world had just changed. But for me, it had. Later that evening, Natalie's white Lexus was gone from the driveway. Probably for good this time. I walked through the house slowly, like it was some ancient ruin. Traces of her still lingered, scents, Memories, echoes. I opened the closet. Her side was bare. Good. I poured myself a drink. Sat on the back deck. Watched the sun fall behind the trees. Then my phone buzzed. A message from her. You win. I hope you're proud of yourself. I stared at the screen. Then replied. I'm not proud. I'm just free. I blocked her after that. The next week moved fast. Rick filed everything. We froze her access to all assets. She tried to retaliate once more, but this time, nobody listened. Her image had cracked beyond repair. People saw the truth now. Even some of our mutual friends apologized. Said they didn't know. That they believed her stories because she always seemed so believable. That's the thing about people like her. They don't just lie. They perform. But the show was over now. One night, I sat down and wrote a letter. To myself. Just to get it all out. I wrote about every moment I ignored my gut. Every time she made me feel small and I swallowed it. Every time I told myself she's just tired or it's probably nothing, when deep down, I knew. Then I burned that letter in the fire pit. Watched the flames eat every last word. And in that silence, in that glow, I realized something I never thought I'd feel again. Peace. Pure, goddamn peace. I didn't hear from her for a while after that. Weeks passed. No calls. No messages. No lawyers showing up at my door. And for a moment, I thought maybe it was really over. Maybe she'd moved on to her next target, someone else to wrap around her finger, someone dumber or more desperate. Someone who hadn't seen behind the curtain yet. But then I got an email. Not from her. This time, it was from a name I didn't recognize. Subject line, you need to see this. The body of the message was short. You don't know me, but I work in real estate. Your wife, or ex-wife, just tried to list your lake house under her name. Said you gave it to her as part of the separation. I'm guessing that's a lie. Attached was a scanned document. A forged signature. Mine. I sat there for a full minute, blinking at the screen, heart cold but no longer surprised. Just tired. Tired of the games. Tired of cleaning up behind a woman who treated honesty like a costume she could put on and take off whenever it suited her. I forwarded the email to Rick with one line. She's still trying. 15 minutes later, my phone rang. Rick sounded like a man sharpening knives. We file tomorrow. Fraud. Attempted theft. Let her try to explain this one. I don't think she even cares anymore, I muttered. She's not playing to win. She's just playing to destroy. She's playing like someone who knows she already lost, Rick said. That makes her dangerous. But predictable. And he was right. Because 2 days later, I saw her. Not in court. Not on the street. On the news. It was a small segment, buried in the middle of the evening report. Police arrest in a luxury hotel downtown. Woman detained for public intoxication, destruction of property, and assaulting hotel staff. I leaned forward. There she was. Grainy security footage of Natalie, barefoot, hair wild, screaming at the front desk while a vase shattered behind her. The anchor read her name casually, like it was just another Tuesday meltdown. And I didn't feel joy. Not exactly. It was something deeper. Like relief mixed with finality. She had finally collapsed under the weight of her own lies. And it wasn't me who had to bring her down. She did it herself. The next day, I got a voicemail from her number. I let it go to audio. Her voice was raw, slurred. I lost everything. Are you happy? You turned everyone against me. I loved you, Ethan. You were just too blind to see it. Maybe if you'd been more of a man, I wouldn't have had to find what I needed elsewhere. Click. I deleted it. Because what she needed was never love. It was power, control, worship. And when I stopped giving her those things, she found them in other places. With other men. With lies. With drama. It didn't matter where, as long as she was the center of it. I walked outside. The weather had changed. Cooler now. Clean. The kind of day you'd want to take a long drive with the windows down and not think about anything at all. I sat in my car for a while, staring at the neighborhood I used to think was perfect. The house with the red mailbox, where Natalie flirted with the neighbor while I was inside grilling dinner. The cul-de-sac where we walked hand in hand, pretending to be happy for everyone else's benefit. It all looked smaller now, like the illusion had been stripped away. And in its place, I saw the truth. Not the ugly betrayal, not the lies, not even her chaos. The truth was this. I had survived it. She threw everything at me, deceit, manipulation, betrayal, the legal system. And I was still here. Stronger, sharper, alone, but not broken. I didn't respond to her voicemail. Didn't answer her lawyer's final desperate email asking for one last discussion. Didn't send her anything when I officially sold the lake house and changed the business name so it no longer carried the Carter legacy. I just moved forward. Because the past, it wasn't coming back. And I wouldn't invite it in again, not even to say goodbye. The final papers came through a few weeks later. A thick envelope dropped in my mailbox like a silent gavel. Inside, divorce finalized. The company was mine. No shared assets. No alimony. Just a clean break, signed and sealed. I stood at the kitchen counter, staring at the signature at the bottom of the page. Her name, still written with that fake little heart over the I. Even in the end, she wanted to leave a mark. I smiled, shook my head, and tossed the packet in the drawer. Not out of sentiment, just to remind myself, on the hard days, what I survived. A few months passed. I got stronger, slept better, ate real meals again, went out more. I even laughed without feeling like it was borrowed from someone else's life. And slowly, the noise died down. The texts stopped. The whispers around town faded. People moved on, just like I did. But I never forgot. I remembered the way she'd laugh while stabbing me in the back. I remembered how quickly she could fake tears. I remembered the hollow in her eyes when she realized she no longer had control over me. And I learned. I learned that love without respect is a ticking bomb. I learned that silence can be more violent than shouting. I learned that some people aren't broken. They're built to break others. I also learned something else. I'm not the man I was before her. That man was softer, more trusting. He wanted to see the good in everyone, even when the good wasn't there. That man died the night he looked through her messages and realized every "I love you" was a performance. But the man standing now? He sees clearly. He knows his worth. He doesn't beg. And he never lets someone else write his story. To any man reading this, sitting in the same fire I did, confused, angry, shaking with questions you'll never get answers to, I'll say this. Don't chase closure from someone who shattered you. Don't fight to understand a person who lied with a straight face and smiled while doing it. Instead, rebuild. Slowly. Brutally. With intention. Because once you get out of the wreckage, you'll look back not with pain, but with power. Because she didn't break you. She freed you.